Discussion on verses 1 to 19 of 19. As obeying Allah, the Exalted, by correctly using the blessings He has granted according to Islamic teachings, often conflicts with human desires, especially during times of difficulty. This chapter begins by instructing people to glorify Allah, the Exalted. Part of this glorification involves refraining from attributing anything negative, such as hardships or difficulties, directly to Him in a blameful manner, as all events occur by His decree. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 1.
Glorify the name of your Lord the Most High.
One of the most effective ways to achieve this glorification is by cultivating a positive mindset. Developing a positive outlook is essential, as it enables people to navigate challenges while remaining obedient to Allah, the Exalted, and using the blessings He has granted in ways that are pleasing to Him, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Whenever a person faces hardships, they should remember that the situation could have been far worse. If the difficulty pertains to worldly matters, they should be thankful that it does not affect their faith. Instead of focusing solely on the immediate sorrow, they should maintain awareness at the ultimate reward for those who exercise patience and perseverance for the sake of Allah, the Exalted. When certain blessings are lost, reflection on the numerous blessings still present serves as a reminder of Allah's generosity. Each trial carries hidden wisdom that may not be immediately evident. Often, what seems unfavorable at first may, in fact, be better than what one initially desired or expected. Chapter 2 Al-Baqarah, verse 216.
But perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. And Allah knows while you know not.
In conclusion, reflecting on these truths helps cultivate a positive mindset, which is essential for properly glorifying Allah, the Exalted, by avoiding the attribution of negativity to Him. The perspective to adopt is that the cup is not half empty, rather it is half full, filled with opportunities for patience, gratitude, and trust in divine wisdom. Allah, the Exalted, then highlights some of the fundamental reasons why He alone deserves to be glorified and obeyed in every circumstance. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 2.
Who created and proportioned?
Anyone who reflects carefully on the human body with an open and unbiased mind will recognize that its precise composition, the intricate coordination of organs, bones, senses, and systems, could not have arisen without intention, knowledge, and power. Every part of the body serves a purpose and functions in harmony with countless other systems, creating a level of complexity far beyond what human effort alone could achieve. If even a simple structure or machine cannot be designed, built, and maintained without a skilled designer and caretaker, it is far more unreasonable to assume that the human being, with their extraordinarily complex physical, mental, and emotional systems, came into existence by chance and continues to operate flawlessly without a creator and sustainer. The human body relies on countless interdependent processes, each occurring with precise timing and balance to sustain life. The heartbeat, respiration, digestion, nerve impulses, immune responses, and cellular regeneration all operate in delicate harmony. Even a minor disruption to this balance can lead to illness or death, revealing the necessity of continuous oversight, wisdom, and control. This careful orchestration, observed not only in humans but throughout the natural world, points unmistakably to a wise creator who designed, proportioned, and maintains everything in perfect balance. Reflection on this truth encourages humility, gratitude, and obedience, recognizing that all aspects of existence, from the smallest cell to the vast complexity of life itself, depend entirely on the knowledge and power of Allah, the Exalted. Allah, the Exalted, did not only create and sustain human beings, but He also determined every aspect of their care, including the provision they receive, thereby highlighting the necessity of showing gratitude to Him. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 3.
And the one who determined.
Just as a person who provides for another, such as giving them shelter or sustenance, deserves gratitude, so too does Allah, the Exalted, who has granted every blessing in this universe to people. Showing gratitude to Him begins with the intention. One must act solely to please Allah, the Exalted. Actions performed for any other reason, even if outwardly good, will not earn reward from Him. A clear sign of a sincere intention is that the person does not seek or hope for recognition, praise, or compensation from others. Gratitude also manifests in speech and behavior. Gratitude with the tongue involves speaking good or remaining silent, rather than engaging in complaints or negative talk. Gratitude through action involves using the blessings granted by Allah, the Exalted, in ways that are pleasing to Him, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. When a person acts with such sincere intention and correct usage of blessings, Allah, the Exalted, increases those blessings, and the individual experiences peace of mind, balance in their mental and physical state, and proper placement of everything and everyone in their life. Chapter 14 Ibrahim, verse 7.
If you are grateful, I will surely increase you in favor.
Furthermore, when a person owns something, it is considered natural and correct for them to use it according to their own discretion. Since Allah, the Exalted, created, owns and sustains everything in the universe, including human beings, He alone determines what occurs within the universe and what does not. Therefore, it is only just for people to obey Him, recognizing His absolute ownership of all things. Similarly, when one lends an item they own to another, it is reasonable that the item is used according to the wishes of its owner. Likewise, every worldly blessing a person possesses is granted by Allah, the Exalted, as a loan rather than as a gift. The proper repayment of this loan is achieved by using these blessings in ways pleasing to Allah, the Exalted. In contrast, the blessings of paradise are a true gift, to be enjoyed freely without obligation. Chapter 7 Al-Araf, verse 43.
And they will be called, "This is paradise which you have been made to inherit for what you used to do."
A person must therefore clearly distinguish between the worldly blessings, which are alone to be used responsibly, and the gifts of paradise, which are granted as a reward for righteous action. Understanding this principle fosters gratitude, discipline, and obedience to Allah, the Exalted, and ensures the proper use of the blessings He has entrusted. To ensure that people live in a way that leads to balance, well-being, and peace of mind, Allah, the Exalted, not only provides and determines their sustenance but also grants them a perfectly balanced divine code of conduct to follow. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 3.
And the one who determined and guided.
No matter how advanced a society becomes, or how much knowledge humanity gains in various fields, including medicine, psychology, and social sciences, it is impossible for people to create a system of conduct that fully aligns with human nature and addresses all the circumstances and challenges that individuals or societies may face. Human understanding is inherently limited. Even with centuries of study, discoveries about the brain, the mind, and human behavior continue to emerge. These insights, though valuable, fall short of producing a flawless guide for living that ensures peace, balance, and justice for all. Only Allah, the Exalted, possesses the knowledge and wisdom necessary to achieve this, for He is the creator of all things, with complete knowledge of the past, present, and future. Only He is therefore qualified to provide humanity with a code of conduct that clearly distinguishes right from wrong, beneficial from harmful, and facilitates a balanced life free from unnecessary stress. Historical evidence consistently demonstrates that when this divine guidance has been correctly implemented, it leads to the flourishing of individuals and societies, producing tranquility, fairness, and harmony. Consequently, each person must embrace this divine guidance and recognize it as the most beneficial framework for their well-being, even if certain aspects conflict with their personal desires or immediate inclinations. People should approach it as a wise patient approaches medical advice. They follow the instructions of their physician, understanding that even bitter medicines and strict diets are ultimately intended for their health and benefit. In the same way, following the divine code of conduct, even when it requires discipline, patience, or restraint, leads to true well-being and a balanced, purposeful life. After emphasizing aspects of human creation and sustenance, Allah, the Exalted, invites people to reflect on the processes through which He provides provision for all creatures, highlighting the extraordinary design of agriculture. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 4.
And who brings out the pasture?
The earth has been intricately designed to produce a wide variety of provisions essential for life. What appears to be lifeless soil and dry seeds is, in reality, a carefully orchestrated system that transforms these inert elements into thriving vegetation, pastures, and crops. Each seed contains potential life, yet it requires the precise combination of water, nutrients, sunlight, and time to grow. Human knowledge, even with advanced agricultural techniques, cannot fully replicate this natural process. People may improve yield, protect crops from disease, or irrigate efficiently, but they cannot create life from a lifeless seed, nor control the balance of growth perfectly. This system is a clear demonstration of divine wisdom, planning, and authority. The growth of pastures not only provides food for humans, but also sustenance for countless animals, which in turn contribute to the larger ecosystem. Grass feeds herbivores, which feed carnivores, and each species plays a role in maintaining the balance of life on Earth. Every element, from soil composition to rainfall patterns, is precisely measured and interconnected, creating a network of provision that cannot be attributed to chance. Moreover, this system teaches humility and gratitude. People who observe the effortless growth of pastures and crops should recognize their dependence on a sustainer who provides abundantly, equitably, and without partiality. It serves as a reminder that the blessings of provision are not the result of human effort alone, but stem ultimately from the Creator's continuous oversight and wisdom. Reflecting on this process encourages a person not only to feel gratitude, but also to use the blessings they have been granted wisely, in accordance with divine guidance. Proper use of provision ensures that sustenance serves both the physical needs of life and the development of the soul, fostering balance, responsibility, and spiritual growth. The need for gratitude and recognition of divine control is further emphasized in the subsequent verse, where Allah, the Exalted, highlights that He alone governs not only provision but also the life cycle of creation. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verses 4-5.
And who brings out the pasture, and then makes it black stubble?
This verse illustrates that all growth and vitality are temporary unless sustained by the Creator. The same pasture that provides nourishment and life eventually withers, returning to a lifeless state as black stubble. Humans may plant, irrigate, or harvest, but they cannot prolong or recreate life independently. This cycle of growth and decay demonstrates the finite nature of worldly provisions and the ultimate authority of Allah, the Exalted, over all living things. Observing this natural cycle teaches a deeper lesson. Just as humans cannot prevent the end of a plant's life, they cannot control the span of their own existence or the outcomes of their deeds. Gratitude arises not only from receiving provision, but also from recognizing the fragility of life and the necessity of using every blessing responsibly. A person who internalizes this truth becomes more conscious of their reliance on the Creator, using what they have been granted wisely and seeking to align their actions with divine guidance. The same divine guidance has been designed in perfect harmony with human nature, making its understanding clear and its application both practical and manageable for people in all circumstances. It is not a system that overwhelms or burdens beyond capacity, but rather one that aligns with the natural disposition of human beings, enabling them to live with balance, clarity, and purpose. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verses 6-7.
We will make you recite, and you will not forget, except what Allah should will.
This verse highlights that the preservation and transmission of divine guidance are themselves facilitated by Allah, the Exalted. The message is not only revealed but also made easy to retain, understand, and convey. This ensures that guidance remains accessible to people across generations, without being lost, distorted, or made unnecessarily complicated. Furthermore, this ease reflects the mercy of Allah, the Exalted, towards humanity. The divine code of conduct is not designed to be an unattainable ideal, but rather a practical way of life that people can implement in their daily affairs, whether in worship, relationships, or worldly responsibilities. Even when exceptions occur, they fall within divine wisdom, demonstrating flexibility and accommodation without compromising the overall guidance. This balance between clarity and practicality ensures that no one is left without the ability to understand and act upon the truth. It removes excuses based on difficulty or complexity, and instead encourages individuals to engage with the guidance sincerely. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 7.
Indeed, He knows what is declared and what is hidden.
As a result, Those who approach this guidance with sincerity and an open heart will find that it not only directs them toward correct action, but also brings stability to their mental and physical state. This allows them to properly organize every aspect of their life, while preparing for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 8.
And we will ease you toward ease.
This ease, however, should not be misunderstood. It does not mean that the one who sincerely obeys Allah, the Exalted, will be free from hardships, as this would contradict the very purpose of life in this world, which is built upon tests, times of difficulty that require patience and times of ease that require gratitude. Challenges are an essential part of the journey and serve to refine character, strengthen faith, and distinguish sincerity from mere claims. Rather, the ease referred to in this verse signifies that a person will be granted inner stability and peace of mind. No matter what circumstances they face, they will not be overwhelmed by them. Instead of being consumed by stress, anxiety, or despair, they will be able to confront difficulties with clarity, patience, and trust in Allah, the Exalted. This inner strength allows them to navigate hardships effectively, while maintaining balance within themselves, and properly managing the responsibilities and relationships in their lives. In this way, even when external conditions are challenging, one experiences a form of ease that is far greater than the absence of difficulty, the ease of a tranquil heart, a clear purpose, and confidence in divine wisdom. This leads not only to success in overcoming trials in this world, but also to abundant reward in the hereafter, as every hardship endured with patience and sincerity becomes a means of elevation and lasting benefit. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, would often experience deep concern and sorrow for those who rejected or neglected the guidance of Islam. His compassion for people was so profound that their refusal to accept the truth weighed heavily upon him. However, Allah, the Exalted, repeatedly clarified his role, reminding him that he was not tasked with forcing belief upon others nor burdened with the responsibility of their final choices. His duty was to convey the message clearly, embody it through his example, and leave the outcome to Allah, the Exalted. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 9.
So remind, if the reminder should benefit.
And chapter 88 Al-Ghashiyah, verses 21 to 22.
So remind you are only a reminder. You are not over them, a controller.
These verses establish a timeless principle for all who call others towards righteousness. They make it clear that the responsibility of a person is not to compel belief or control the hearts of others, but to communicate the truth with sincerity, wisdom, clarity, and compassion. Guidance itself lies solely in the control of Allah, the Exalted, and He grants it to whom He wills. This understanding protects a person from becoming overwhelmed with frustration, disappointment, or grief when their efforts do not produce immediate or visible results. It teaches that success is not measured by how many people respond, nor by recognition, praise, or influence, but rather by sincerity, consistency, and faithfulness in fulfilling one's duty. A person is rewarded for their effort and intention, not for outcomes beyond their control. Those who sincerely seek truth will inevitably respond when they encounter it, as their hearts are open and receptive. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 10.
He who fears Allah will be reminded.
In contrast, those who persist in arrogance or heedlessness ultimately harm only themselves. Recognizing this reality allows the caller to remain patient, balanced, and focused, rather than becoming disheartened by rejection. Furthermore, this principle reinforces a broader truth. Allah the Exalted does not burden any soul beyond its capacity. Every challenge faced while conveying or living by the truth is an opportunity to develop patience, discipline, and reliance on Him. True peace, both in this world and in the hereafter, requires effort, restraint, and the control of one's desires. It is not found in worldly success, status, or recognition, but in sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted. This is evident when one observes those who possess wealth, fame, or influence, yet remain restless and dissatisfied. Material success alone does not bring tranquility. Rather, true contentment is rooted in a heart that is aligned with divine guidance and satisfied with the decree of Allah, the Exalted. Therefore, those who call others to the truth must remain focused on their responsibility, to live according to Islamic teachings, to convey the message with wisdom and compassion, and to entrust all outcomes to Allah, the Exalted. By adopting this mindset, they transform anxiety into calm reliance, disappointment into patience, and effort into a source of continuous reward. In doing so, they become a living reflection of the message they convey, demonstrating through their character and conduct that guidance is a gift granted by Allah, the Exalted. Their role is simply to deliver it faithfully, while leaving the judgment of hearts and the final accountability to Him alone. But as obeying Allah, the Exalted, often conflicts with the worldly desires and ambitions of people, many persist in disobedience, even if they outwardly claim belief in Him. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verses 10 to 11.
He who fears Allah will be reminded, but the wretched one will avoid it.
This highlights a fundamental reality. Guidance benefits only those who possess humility, awareness, and a sincere fear of accountability before Allah, the Exalted. Such individuals are receptive to reminders and are willing to correct themselves. In contrast, those who are deeply attached to their desires and heedlessness will turn away, not because the message lacks clarity, but because accepting it would require them to restrain their inclinations and change their way of life. In this world, such an attitude prevents a person from attaining a balanced mental and physical state. It leads them to misplaced priorities, giving undue importance to temporary matters while neglecting what is truly essential. As a result, everything in their life, family, relationships, career, and wealth, gradually becomes a source of stress and dissatisfaction rather than comfort and stability. When a person persists in this state, they often misidentify the cause of their distress. Instead of recognizing their own misuse of blessings and misalignment with divine guidance, they begin to blame others around them, including those who may actually be a source of support and goodness, such as family members. By distancing themselves from these beneficial relationships, they only deepen their difficulties, leading to greater emotional instability and inner turmoil. Over time, this can manifest in more severe forms of distress, including anxiety, depression, harmful coping mechanisms, and destructive behaviors. This outcome is clearly observable in many who possess abundant worldly advantages, such as wealth, status, or fame, yet remain internally unsettled. Despite having access to comfort and luxury, they are unable to achieve lasting peace of mind because they have misused the blessings granted to them and failed to align their lives with the guidance of Allah, the Exalted. More importantly, this attitude carries far greater consequences beyond this world. By neglecting to prepare for their accountability on Judgment Day, they expose themselves to a punishment that is far more severe and enduring. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verses 12 to 13.
He who will enter and burn in the greatest fire, neither dying therein nor living.
To avoid this outcome, a person must strive to adopt correct behavior by purifying their intentions, speech, and actions so that they align with divine guidance. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 14.
He has certainly succeeded who purifies himself.
This purification is not a passive or abstract concept, but an ongoing and deliberate process that requires effort, awareness, and consistency. It involves learning the teachings of Islam, reflecting upon them deeply, and then implementing them in everyday life. This is the real definition of remembering Allah, the Exalted. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 15.
And mentions the name of his Lord.
Through this process, a person gradually refines their character and aligns their inner state with what is pleasing to Allah, the Exalted. A key aspect of this purification is adopting the noble qualities praised in Revelation, such as generosity, patience, humility, gratitude, and compassion. At the same time, it requires actively striving to remove harmful traits like pride, envy, greed, arrogance, and insincerity. This is not achieved overnight, but through continuous self-examination, sincere repentance, and conscious effort. As these negative traits are reduced and replaced with virtuous qualities, the heart becomes purified and the soul is elevated. This inner refinement naturally produces tranquility, as true peace of mind is a direct result of living in harmony with divine guidance. A person who has purified their heart is not easily disturbed by the ups and downs of life, as their stability is rooted in their relationship with Allah, the Exalted, rather than in temporary worldly circumstances. Moreover, spiritual purification ensures that a person uses the blessings they have been granted, such as wealth, health, knowledge, and influence, in the correct manner. Instead of misusing these blessings or becoming attached to them, they are directed towards obedience, service to others, and sincere gratitude. This prevents excess, waste, and harm, and instead transforms these blessings into means of benefit in both this world and the hereafter. As a result, a person achieves a balanced mental and physical state, where priorities are clear and everything in life is placed in its proper position. Relationships are handled with care and justice, responsibilities are fulfilled with sincerity, and worldly matters are kept in perspective. This balance not only brings stability and clarity in daily life, but also ensures that the person is properly preparing for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. Such a life of purification leads to success in both worlds. In this life, the purified individual experiences clarity, contentment, and resilience, even in the face of hardship. In the hereafter, they attain eternal peace and reward from Allah, the Exalted. Therefore, spiritual purification is not merely a personal improvement, but the very foundation of true success, as it transforms character, guides the correct use of blessings, and secures lasting peace in both this world and the next. An essential component of refining and purifying one's conduct is the consistent establishment of the obligatory prayers. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verse 15.
And mentions the name of his Lord and prays.
The emphasis placed on the obligatory prayers throughout Islamic teachings highlights their central role in a person's life. Prayer is not merely one righteous action among many, rather, it is the foundation upon which all other good deeds are built. It nurtures and sustains a person's connection with Allah, the Exalted, and serves as a constant source of strength that enables them to remain firm upon obedience in every situation. Without this foundation, a person's actions become unstable, lacking the spiritual anchor required to maintain sincerity and consistency. However, true prayer is far more than a series of outward physical movements. It is an act of deep awareness, humility, and reflection that connects a person to the reality of their ultimate return to Allah, the Exalted. This sense of humility is strengthened when one understands that each posture within the prayer symbolizes key moments that will unfold on the Day of Judgment, thereby transforming the prayer into a powerful reminder of accountability. For this reason, the 5 daily prayers are wisely distributed throughout the day rather than being performed all at once. Each prayer serves as a pause in the routine of life, allowing a person to step back from worldly distractions, reassess their actions, and realign their intentions with divine guidance. Through this repeated cycle, a person is constantly reminded of their purpose and is protected from drifting into heedlessness. When a person stands upright in prayer, they should reflect on how this posture mirrors the standing of all people before Allah, the Exalted, on the Day of Judgment. Chapter 83 Al-Mutaffifin, verses 4-6.
Do they not think that they will be resurrected? For a tremendous day, the day when mankind will stand before the Lord of the worlds.
When they bow, it should remind them of those who will be reproached on the Day of Judgment for failing to bow in obedience during their worldly lives. Chapter 77 Al-Mursalat, verse 48.
And when it is said to them, bow in prayer, they do not bow.
This is not limited to the physical act of bowing, but extends to a person's willingness to submit to the commands of Allah, the Exalted, in all areas of life. When one prostrates, the most humble position in prayer, it serves as a powerful reminder of a moment on the Day of Judgment when people will be called to prostrate. Those who neglected sincere obedience in this world will find themselves unable to do so. Chapter 68 Al-Kalam, verses 42-43.
On the day when matters become dire, they will be invited to prostrate themselves but will be prevented from doing so. Their eyes humbled, humiliation will cover them. And they used to be invited to prostration while they were sound.
When one sits during the prayer, it reminds them of the scene where all people will be gathered, kneeling before Allah, the Exalted, awaiting their final judgment. Chapter 45 Al-Jatiyah, verse 28.
And you will see every nation kneeling from fear. Every nation will be called to its record and told, today you will be recompensed for what you used to do.
The one who performs prayer with this level of awareness will establish it in the manner intended. As a result, the effects of the prayer will extend beyond the moments of worship and influence their behavior throughout the day. This leads to sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted, between the prayers, as the heart remains mindful and disciplined. Chapter 29 Al-Ankabut, verse 45.
Indeed, prayer prohibits immorality and wrongdoing.
Such obedience is reflected in how a person uses the blessings they have been granted, directing them towards what is pleasing to Allah, the Exalted, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Through this, they achieve a balanced mental and physical state, correctly organize all aspects of their life, and steadily prepare for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. But since obedience to Allah, the Exalted, often conflicts with the desires and ambitions that people incline toward, many persist in misusing the blessings they have been granted. This occurs despite the clear reality that true peace of mind, achieved through a balanced mental and physical state, and through correctly placing everything and everyone within one's life, can only be attained through sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verses 16 to 17.
But you prefer the worldly life, while the hereafter is better and more enduring.
A hadith recorded in Sunan Ibn Majah, number 4108, conveys that the material world, when compared to the hereafter, is like a single drop of water in relation to a vast ocean. This comparison is given to help people grasp the immense difference between the two. Yet in reality, even this example falls short, because the material world is temporary and finite, whereas the hereafter is everlasting and infinite. The limited can never truly be compared to the unlimited. When one reflects deeply, the material world can be broadly understood through four main pursuits: fame, wealth, authority, and social attachments such as family and friends. Regardless of which of these a person attains, each is inherently flawed, temporary, and subject to loss. Even if a person manages to enjoy them for a time, death will inevitably separate them from all that they possess. In contrast, the blessings of the hereafter are perfect, uninterrupted, and eternal. In this sense, the entire material world is insignificant when set against the everlasting reality of the hereafter. Furthermore, a person is never guaranteed a long life in this world. Many strive tirelessly for future milestones, such as retirement or long-term ambitions, without any certainty that they will live to see them. Yet every single person is guaranteed to experience death and enter the next world. Therefore, it is irrational to prioritize what is uncertain over what is absolutely certain. This understanding does not call for abandoning the material world altogether. Rather, it teaches that this world is a temporary passage, a bridge that must be crossed in order to reach the hereafter safely. A person should therefore take from this world only what is necessary to fulfill their needs and the needs of those under their care, in accordance with the guidance of Islam, avoiding waste, excess, and extravagance. Beyond this, their primary focus should be directed toward preparing for the eternal life to come. This preparation involves fulfilling the commands of Allah, the Exalted, refraining from what He has prohibited, and responding to life's circumstances with patience and gratitude in accordance with the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. By doing so, a person ensures that every blessing they have been granted is used correctly and purposefully. As a result, they attain peace of mind and stability in this life, along with immense and lasting reward in the hereafter, through obtaining a balanced mental and physical state, and through correctly placing everything and everyone within their life. An intelligent person will not prioritize a drop of water over an endless ocean, and an intelligent Muslim would not prioritize the temporal material world over the eternal hereafter. Allah, the Exalted, concludes this chapter by reminding people that the final divine guidance they have been granted is neither new nor unfamiliar. Rather, it is a continuation of the same truth that has been revealed since the earliest generations of humanity. This guidance was given to previous peoples through earlier revelations, even though some secondary rulings differed in accordance with the specific times and circumstances of those communities. Chapter 87 Al-Allah, verses 18 to 19.
Indeed, this is in the former scriptures, the scriptures of Abraham and Moses.
This highlights an important reality. divine guidance has always been aligned with human nature, which itself does not change across time. The core needs, instincts, and inner disposition of people remain constant, regardless of the era in which they live. Therefore, a code of conduct that truly originates from the Creator will naturally correspond with this unchanging nature. In contrast, any system that opposes this innate disposition will inevitably feel unnatural and burdensome, leading to inner conflict, imbalance, and disruption in both mental and physical states. Because Islamic teachings originate from Allah, the Exalted, they are perfectly suited to the essence of human beings. As a result, when a person sincerely engages with them, they often experience a sense of familiarity and clarity, rather than confusion or alienation. This is particularly evident in those who embrace Islam after following other paths. Many of them describe a feeling not of discovering something entirely new, but of returning to something deeply recognized within themselves, as though the truth had always been present but obscured. This occurs because divine guidance does not impose an artificial structure upon people. Rather, it restores them to the natural state upon which Allah, the Exalted, created humanity. On the other hand, systems devised by people are shaped by changing desires, cultural trends, and limited understanding. As a result, they can conflict with human nature, producing dissatisfaction and instability even when outwardly appealing. Such systems may promise freedom or fulfillment, yet frequently lead to confusion, imbalance, and a lack of lasting peace. However, this reality does not become clear to everyone automatically. It requires a person to approach the teachings of Islam with sincerity, openness, and a willingness to reflect. Preconceived notions, arrogance, or blind adherence to inherited beliefs can prevent a person from recognizing the harmony between divine guidance and human nature. When these barriers are set aside, the truth becomes evident. In this way, divine revelation serves a dual role. It acts as a mirror, reflecting the inherent truth already placed within the human soul, and as a guide, directing a person toward what is correct and beneficial. Through this, a person is able to achieve true balance, internally through a stable mental and physical state, and externally through correctly placing everything and everyone within their life. Ultimately, this leads to peace of mind in this world and lasting success in the next. Therefore, a person must accept and act upon Islamic teachings for their own benefit, even when these teachings oppose their personal desires and inclinations. They should resemble a wise patient who willingly follows the guidance of a skilled doctor, trusting that it is in their best interest, even when the treatment involves unpleasant medicine or a restrictive diet. Just as this patient ultimately attains good mental and physical health through discipline and trust, likewise a person who sincerely follows Islamic teachings will achieve true well-being and balance in their life. This is because the only one who possesses complete and perfect knowledge of what brings harmony to the human being, both internally and externally, is Allah the Exalted. He alone knows how a person can attain a balanced mental and physical state, and how they should correctly place everything and everyone within their life. In contrast, the understanding possessed by people, regardless of how advanced it may appear, will always remain limited. Despite extensive research and progress in various fields, people are unable to address every challenge an individual may face. Their guidance cannot eliminate all forms of stress, nor can it guarantee that a person will organize their life in the most appropriate and beneficial manner. This limitation arises from restricted knowledge, incomplete experience, lack of foresight, and the influence of personal and societal biases. In contrast, Allah the Exalted possesses absolute knowledge of His creation, and He has provided this guidance to humanity through the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. The truth of this guidance becomes evident when one compares those who use their blessings in accordance with Islamic teachings and those who do not. The difference in their state of mind, stability, and overall direction in life becomes clear upon reflection. Furthermore, while patients often trust their doctors without fully understanding the science behind their treatment, Allah, the Exalted, does not require blind acceptance. Instead, He invites people to reflect deeply upon the teachings of Islam so that they may recognize their truth and wisdom through clear evidence and personal experience. However, this recognition requires an unbiased and sincere approach, free from prejudice and preconceived notions. Chapter 12 Yusuf, verse 108.
Say, this is my way, I invite to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me.
In addition, Allah, the Exalted, alone controls the inner state of people, which is the true source of peace of mind. He alone determines who experiences tranquility, and who does not. Chapter 53 and Najm, verse 43.
And that it is He who makes one laugh and weep.
Therefore, genuine peace of mind is not achieved through material means or personal desires, but through the correct use of the blessings granted by Allah, the Exalted, in accordance with His guidance. Only those who align their lives with Islamic teachings will be granted this inner peace, as they live in harmony with the purpose for which they were created. Chapter 16 and Nahl, verse 97.
Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life, and we will surely give them their reward in the hereafter according to the best of what they used to do.
All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and may peace and blessings be upon His final messenger, Muhammad, his noble family and companions.